and all the panelists. I'm very happy to start the panel discussion on the budget. As one of our colleagues, Professor Mohammad Shamim, regarding Professor Mohammad Shamim, I think he does not need any introduction. You all know him very well. He's a very dynamic, very vibrant, very dedicated teacher of our department. And whenever it comes to discussions, right now I think he's a professor in the Department of Commerce. But even when he was a student, I have seen his caliber. I have seen his involvement in research. I have seen his involvement in extracurricular activities, and still he's continuing with his all charisma with his friends. And he is one of the most popular faculty members in the Department of Commerce. I welcome you all three panelists, and I thank Dr. Nayyar Rahman for organizing this event. All attendees, you must be knowing that budget is something which is always a matter of concern for some people. Regarding budget, I would like to say one thing, that whenever the budgets are announced, at that time, you see, there's a lot of hue and cry from opposition side. I have seen, even ever since I have been in this education field, and before that also, I have always noticed that whenever there is a discussion on budget, so it is always opposition that opposes.
Sanket, the discussion is going in a very right direction, and I believe you all will agree with me that whatever the decisions are taking in the budget, these are the bureaucratic decisions in such as such, and all the relaxations given to people, either they are the senior citizens or reduction in time of IT proceedings or any kind of incentive for the startup. All these things are generally done by not by the government as such. Government, whatever the government is there, they will have to adopt the policies framed by the bureaucrats. So we'll continue with you. In the meanwhile, I request Professor Shamim to just give insight about the views that you have discussed. Over to you, Professor Shamim.
Yeah, thank you so much. At the very outset, I would like to congratulate Professor Nawab Ali Khan Sahab, the Chairman, Department of Commerce, for organizing this panel discussion on Union Budget 21-22. And I'm also thankful to Professor Imran Salim Sahab, the Dean Faculty of Commerce, one of my favorite teacher, who is the part of this panel discussion. And the best part of this panel discussion is the inclusion of some practicing people, like Mr. Sanket Garg. He is practicing chartered accountant. So he has given his deliberation according to the issues which he has handled after the budget. And quite often he might be experiencing all these things. And we have Shabina Fatima by profession. She is a company secretary. So definitely her deliberations are yet to come. And I'm from the academic field. So my concentration is towards the students. I'm sure most of the participants are students in this panel discussion. So they would like to know from their point of view. Actually, whenever budget is presented, people have a lot of expectation and a lot of deliberations and discussions are going on. Expectations are like everyone is expecting certain benefits from the budget, whether it's students or taxpayers or investors or small scale industries or large corporate houses. Each and every one is expecting something. So here, first of all, many of you are the students. So this was a budget of approximately 34.83 lakh crores of worth. And budget is a quantitative plan. All of you must know budget is a quantitative plan which estimates the income and expenditure for a particular financial year. So the budget which was presented on 1st February 2021, it was an estimation of as how expenditures of the government will be done, what are the sectors where emphasis will be given, and how this fund will be raised from imposing different taxes or loan or in different other forms of finance. So this was the presentation of the budget, and I think everyone is having expectation before the budget. I was also having some expectation from this budget. The first thing is this budget was a unique one. What I believe, strongly believe, I hope all of you will agree. This budget was a unique one because entire world was suffering from COVID-19, and that's why most of the economic activities of the countries were badly affected, and many startups have closed down. They could not continue during this COVID-19 era, and all of you know very well how things were locked and how business were affected. So it is well-known fact. And second thing, definitely the budget was going to give certain benefits or certain decisions regarding COVID-19. This was the one thing. It was my expectation. And second thing was government was having a lot of schemes which were in operation, like Make in India, Digital India, Startup, or Atmanirbhar Bharat. A lot of schemes government has initiated earlier to this budget. So definitely this budget was, and during COVID-19 era, during COVID-19, lots of startup companies could not do well, and they closed down their businesses because it was not possible for them to continue. So it was expected certain like benefits to these central government sponsored schemes. And third thing was the conflict between India and China. That was also before the budget. We have seen there was a conflict between India and China, and China is one of the largest. We are the largest importer from China. A lot of things we were importing from China. So definitely our businesses were affected due to this conflict. Atmanirbhar Bharat and boycott China movement. These things were going on before the budget. And obviously, in general, economic growth and development, controlling inflation, and giving benefit to each and every sector for balanced economic growth and development. These things were expected. And even Honorable Finance Minister said this budget was a unique one. I haven't seen budget like this in my last 6 years. She said like this. And I agree, this budget was a unique one in the sense she is the first full-fledged finance minister of the country, female finance minister of the country. This budget was presented by her, and it was a unique in the sense it was a digital budget. No paperwork was done. This was, and whenever budget is presented, then there is a lot of reaction and responses from the masses from every nook and corner. And if you want to see the appreciation of the budget, you can listen to any party who, or any person who is the member of ruling party. Whenever they are asked to give their statement, they will always say goody goody picture of the budget. And if you want to see the criticism, then you can go to and listen the deliberations of opposition. People who are in opposition, you can see. Even some, if you want to see the criticism of the budget, you can open NDTV. And if you want to see the goody goody picture of the budget, you can see Z News. These things are obvious, but we are being academician. We have to be very honest in giving opinions. The first thing is what a common man is expecting from the budget. Certain things will be costly and certain things will be cheaper. These things are the interest of the common man. So wherever, and I'm very sure those who are smokers, those who are drinkers, they always criticize budget. The reason being, always import duty and excise duty is increased. I'm sure they're not happy with the budget. What's the reason why always there is increase in the excise duty and taxes on the alcohol and smoke, like cigarette or gutka, pan masala, all these things? The reason being the price of these product is price inelastic. When you increase the taxes, prices will increase, but demand will not be affected. So it's very easy for the government to impose taxes on those products which are price inelastic. This is the very reason. And one of the students asked the question that why always deficit budget is presented. The reason being, whatever government has planned to spend, government is showing that entire spending and development will not be at the cost of general public by imposing taxes. Certain amount will be borrowed from outside. So entire burden of the economic development and growth will not be on the shoulder of the investors or common man. That's why deficit budget is presented. It is called populist budget or socialist budget. Then what students need to know, my special attention to my students. Whenever budget is presented or any new thing is happening in business world, what you need to understand why it is important for you. See, you are the future of the country, you are the future of the nation, and all of you are studying, especially the students of management, economics, and commerce directly, and other students indirectly. All of you are studying about business environment, like it is going to affect the business. So exactly, budget is going to make a lot of changes, lot of reshuffling will take place in the functioning of different business houses, and that's why you need to understand. And the best manager is one who is able to understand the impact of a particular change in the budget on the performance of a particular company or industry or sector. And accordingly, you have to adjust, you have to protect, you have to work for your organization in such a way that the impact is quite minimum on your business. And that's why it is very important for all the students to understand. Even take the example of investors. I think we call stock exchanges are called barometer of the economy. Like it's a bookish language in every book you have studied. Stock exchange is called barometer of an economy. What about the response of this budget to stock market? You know, stock market was quite up. There was a bumper response of the investors. They welcomed the budget. I'm not supporting or I'm not appreciating anything, but it was welcomed by the investors. And I'm not saying I'm saying on the basis of the reference, the index move in such a way. index move in such a way. And after 1997, this is the first instance when on the day of budget, even before the presentation of the budget, market was quite high. So investors have welcomed the steps taken by, the reason being a lot of emphasis is given on the infrastructure development, maybe on time, like immediately there is no any benefit to anyone, but in time to come, corporate world or entire economy will do better. And see, if government is imposing taxes, it is for what? For you people. Try to recall during World War II, you know, the income tax rate, corporate tax rate was 94% in America. In Second World War, America was heavily involved in World War, and lot of expenses, lot of amount was required. So they imposed on higher slab. Tax rate was 94%, and that up to 90% lasted for, I think, 10 to 15 years. So America said, we are involved in the world war for what? For you people, and that's why you have to bear the cost. So if you want to, government, whosoever is the ruling party, they always look for the betterment. But you know, whenever discussion always goes on when budget is presented, I don't know why discussion is not there for the previous budget, what they planned, what they proposed, and what they achieved. So this is my point of view. Investors, it was welcomed by the investors. The reason being, it was giving a huge boost to the economy as a result of heavy capital expenditure, infrastructure, road, or metros, and you can capital nature items were more emphasized. So at this point of time, this is my point of view, and I think we should listen to others also, because some practicing people are there. And Sanket Garg has rightly said a lot of things which he faced during practicing his profession.
Professor Sam, you rightly pointed out that this is, in fact, a no-harm budget for all of us, because the budget was announced under the shadows of coronavirus pandemic and protests from centers against the farm bill, farm laws. So at a time when the country was dealing through such kind of fallouts of pandemics, we will continue with your discussion. I can see on the screen our Dean, Professor Imran Salim. Okay. I request him to please greet our attendees.
Thank you, Nawab. We could have listened, had no issues.
No, sir. Because you're a busy man, you can leave anytime. So
let me really congratulate you in the first place, then in that case, and the resource persons to really being able to spare their time, valuable time. My apologies at the outset that I really couldn't attend such a valuable session. And I had some prior engagements. I'm very sorry. I'm extremely sorry. And therefore, I actually opted out and requested Nayyar to request Shamim Saab, who is a better person than me, I'm sure. His contributions will be very valuable. And I appreciate all the attendees really in the true sense, because this is something that I think the department need to think and ponder. It's not just about the direct taxation, about the GST, but the holistic picture of the budget, that how it is going to affect the macro economy across the nation, how different sectors are going to come up, because that may lead to certain indications that if somebody want to put in some investment, where to do that, where to, because the personal things like income tax or something, anybody who relates to that would be able to cover up actually. And I'm sure that one can take advantage of consultancies and services as well. But understanding the holistic position of the budget would be very instrumental in developing the comprehension of the students regarding the importance of the budget in the national economy. I congratulate once again all the attendees and the Honorable Chairman of the department to host such a good event. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Nasreen Saab, our Dean. He's a very dynamic Dean of the university. You all must note here, because we have with us some started accountants who are not well known to us, but I think they are giving company to Sanket. So we are lucky to have some more chartered accountants with him. Actually, we are going in a very good direction again. And I'm receiving some messages from some attendees that they are looking. I'm very happy that we have covered individuals, we have covered corporate sector, we have seen FDI also. There is some demand from our attendees regarding the budget provisions or budget support for the education and employment. So I request the panelists to please throw some light on this aspect also. What is there in the budget for the education, what is their budget for the removal of unemployment, and how the government is going to take up this issue with this budget. So over to Professor Shamim now to throw some light on this aspect. Sanket, we'll back to you.
Um, Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity. Uh, as far as the education sector is concerned, I think it has been a bit disappointing because 6,000 crores of fund has been reduced as compared to previous budget. Though number of Eklavya schools and one central university in Leh has been proposed, but as far as the core of education is R&D, research and development. Mostly the budget has been reduced. So in future, students will be you will experience that lots of fundings which government was giving to pursue the research work or for different projects. Definitely all these things. So I think a bit disappointing. Another thing is when we talk about always we are studying that we are one of the fastest growing country of the world, fastest developing country of the world. But when we see our position worldwide, we are not even in top 60 countries in terms of ease of doing business. Ease of doing business, easy to do business. We are not among. It means all those who are successful in doing business, how much effort and commitment they have done, you can imagine we are not even among top 60 countries in terms of ease of doing business. This is about ease of doing business, but what about ease of starting business? We have started the schemes that Startup India, but in terms of ease of starting business, nothing has been done. I was just reading somewhere that in Delhi, if you want to start a restaurant, 45 certifications are required. You just imagine how difficult it will be for a person who is willing to start the business. So I think nothing has been done in this budget in this regard. That ease of doing business, though we are talking about a startup, one good step is 1 year tax holiday has been extended for startup companies. But I think very soon it will be next year again. It will be extended. I think 1 or 2 years is not enough for that. One thing is one old proverb is boss is always right. Similarly, I think government is always right. Whosoever is rolling is always right. They always say. I'm still recalling when on 24th July 1991, a huge restructuring of Indian economy was made by introducing a new economic policy called policy of economic liberalization or globalization. Then there was a lot of opposition that disinvestment was one of the important features. Try to recall disinvestment, devaluation, all these things were the important feature of new economic policy, and that time it was criticized by all the opposition parties. And now disinvestment has is no more a curse. And actually the reason is that due to COVID-19, government doesn't want to impose extra taxes on general public. That's why 1.75 lakh crores of fund government has planned in this budget to raise by selling the stake of some of the PSUs, Navratan or Mahanaratan or Mini Navratan. Some of the companies will be sold, and in the list are like Air India, Pawan Hans, and LIC, IDBI. So in this way, and even properties and lands, I think Vijay Kelkar for quite longer time, he was talking about monetization of lands and properties. If you see the Indian railway track, lots of properties are there which are useless. But I think I'm a bit disappointed in the way these properties should not have been sold. I think these should have been given on lease basis. That would have been a better idea. On lease basis, that would have been given by the government. But all these uh, unutilized properties and lands of railways and other like government entities will be sold to private and multinational companies in order to raise more and more funds. So now privatization is no more occurs, and now government is saying now all these things are for the welfare, for the well-being of the economy. So these are certain things. And one more thing is like introduction of agriculture education says that is 2.5 rupees per rupees on per liter of petrol and rupees 4 on diesel. That further, I think it has irritated the common man, though they were expecting some tax benefit. You know, government always try to highlight some petty things. If some petty things are highlighted, it shows these are the achievements. Like for example, in the name of exemption of taxes, like salary taxpayers were expecting some exemptions in tax, but nothing has been given, except some relaxation is given to those taxpayers, pensioners over 75 years of age. It has been highlighted everywhere. Like whenever we have seen the highlight of the budget 21-22, it has been highlighted. But if you see how many people are there over 75, I don't think more than 10,000 to 15,000 people. But that is also subject to condition. A star is there. If their income is only in the form of pension and interest on bank deposit. If there is any other income, then they have to go for filing of income tax return. Otherwise, they are exempt from filing of income tax return. It has been highlighted. And I'm happy that a lot of stress is given in this budget on health. Actually, overall health budget has increased to 137%, 137%. It was expected because of COVID-19. 35,000 crore has been allocated for vaccination, and for water supply, universal water supply. That scheme has been launched. That's a good idea because of the problems like urban areas were facing. So I think this particular step. Important thing is we are the good policy maker in the world, but let's see how successful we will be in terms of implementation of the policy. This is only just the beginning, let's see. So these are certain things. See, R&D department, like in every large organization, R&D department is very important, which always brings innovation, creativity in order to bring efficiency. Similarly, R&D department, like research has been totally neglected in this. This is a very disappointing thing. And research always brings the country to the pinnacle. If USA is on the top, it is because of their R&D. If like any country is on the top because of their R&D, so we have curtailed the budget on higher education. So this is my point of view, and I think opportunity should be given to some others. I'm happy to listen others.
Thank you, Professor Shamim. In fact, it was a good insight about this special issue. There is one message from in chat box from Mridul Pundir. Is the government eating the share of private sector by engaging in businesses like hotels, airline, etc.? Why it should not only become a good regulator? So I pose this question to Ms. Shabina Fatima to just respond to this. In the meanwhile, there's one more query from some females because we have a large number of females attending this session. They are looking for the schemes of government in this budget for females this time. So this is also to you, Shabina. And after that, I keep the house open for discussion. We will conclude the session after we'll take some questions. After this, Shamina gives the answer to this question. We look for some of the queries from some of our attendees.
The question is that the government eating the share of private sector by engaging in businesses like hotels, airlines, etc. So for this, I like to state that the government is giving a lot of exemptions, a lot of opportunities to the businesses in the form of relaxing various norms, in the forms of relaxing various compliances, so that they are able to run their businesses. And this phrase that the government is eating the share of private sector, I don't think so that it is an apt statement. They are not eating the share of private sector, but they are actually in this budget they have declared the word of privatization, and they came up with this concept of privatization of various industries, of various industries like LIC, various companies like LIC, and other IDBI and other things. So the statement that the government is eating the share of private sector, I don't think so it's apt. Further, there was that if there's anything related to the female welfare the government has came up with. So as such, in this budget, the government has not come up with any such exemptions to the women's or welfare of the women. So it's basically
great. I think this is the budget which has been announced in the pandemic situation. So we are not expecting anything good for everyone because the government has its own focus on health, of course. Now the house is open for discussion. I request all the attendees to give their queries if they have or they want to participate in discussion. Or panelists are there, they will respond to your queries. So this house is now open for discussion.
So
before we continue this discussion, you can send your message in chat box also.
So to all the AMU students, I would also like to highlight one of the good deductions which they can, take the benefits. So that is the education loan. See, as of now, all the AMU students are doing some of their courses, like graduation, like post graduation, and all something and all. But the thing is that many a times to take the professional education, they need some of the funding, additional funding. So I would like to highlight to all the students who are studying into AMU, that they should take the education loan from the various banks and NBFCs, and they will then, after completing their education, when they repay the loan, then they will take that deduction under section 80E to the tune of 1.5 lakh rupees. So that is a good news. Means it's not a good news, it's a old provision, but I don't know that how many of students know about this particular provision. So my point is that if any student wants to enhance their career by studying any kind of course, then a student take the loan and will take the benefit of interest payable on that loan, but it is only available up to only 8 years after repayment. So that is my side from the for the students of the AMU.
Okay, so I think Sanket has given answer to the question which was not asked, but it would have been definitely in the minds of many students. I think with this expectation, that session has gone very successfully, and all the points have been covered. Now I request Dr. Nayarman to please present a vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity. At the very outset, I would like to thank the Chairman, Department of Commerce, Professor Nawab Ali sir, my beloved teacher, for because he is the brainchild of this program. He initiated and encouraged us to organize this program and arranged all the esteemed speakers for this particular program. So I'm thankful to Professor Nawab Ali Khan Sahab for arranging this program for all the students and for all the other viewers who are watching it on YouTube Live. Next, I'm thankful to Dean, Faculty of Commerce, Professor Imran Salim Saab, for encouraging to organize the program, and then the panelists, particularly Chartered Accountant Sanket Garg, who has been my class fellow as well. He has today given lots of information and delicate information, I can say, which everybody will get benefit of, starting from deductions to what can be done to start up and taking tax holidays, etc. To Sabina Fatma, she's a company secretary. Thank you for being there for the students to highlight the important issues, particularly what is going to be the impact of the change in FDI limits. Our respected teacher, Professor Muhammad Shamim Saab, for enlightening all of us, particularly with the issues which are related from education perspective of the budget, as well as from the information which students, the basic information which students required in order to understand the budget. And I'm thankful to all the audience, all the participants who registered for the events, and also the audience and participants who are watching the event live on YouTube. I hope that such kind of deliberations will continue in future as well, and whatever deliberations has happened today will benefit all of us in understanding the policies of the government and intention of the government, and that will be a prosperity for all of us and for the country as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nayar. Before we say goodbye to each other, I request all the faculty members who are here to please join me over a cup of tea. Shabina, your tea, your snacks are due. Whenever you come to your office and have it with us. It is in safe deposit. All the best to all of you. Thank you very much.